Tommy, Happy New Year, nice to see you. I'm thinking first of all about the game on New Year's Day. It was quite a feisty encounter. What were your views looking back at it now in the cold light of day?
Well, ultimately, both the games went the way we wanted. You know, we took the maximum haul of points, which was the aim on Christmas Day, and to come to the end of New Year's Day and have the 6 points in the bag was really what we aimed to do. If anything, it was a little bit of a tinge of disappointment because we conceded late in the game, but I think Ian summed it up quite well. And derby games are often like that. There's not a huge amount of quality sometimes. Thought the pitch was difficult. Thought there were a lot of decisions that could have gone one way or the other, and they went against us on the day. But ultimately, like I said, the aim was to try and take the maximum points, and we did that. So it was a really good Christmas and New Year for us. What we've got to do now is pick the baton back up quickly, and with the long road trip to Blythe at the weekend, we've got to try and make sure we bring something back.
Particularly thinking about the sending off in the game on New Year's Day.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've seen it several times now. I've listened to Aaron and his take on it, and I definitely think there's a case for it to be rescinded now until we receive official response to the appeal. It is what it is. I still believe at the time it wasn't the right decision, but it's out of my hands now. But we'll back the player because we do feel how it's been described as to what he did simply didn't happen. So from that point of view, we'll see where we go with it.
And the other big talking point was the injury to Gold, the crack on the cheek. I mean, that seemed quite nasty.
Yeah, well, it's been confirmed he has got a break in his cheekbone, which was no surprise when I saw him at the time, to be honest with you. There was a real indentation in the side here, but it seems to have, the pressure seemed to pop his cheekbone out. That's an x-ray we've had and we've seen. He has to go back just at the end of this week, actually. But the positive thing is, this morning he came in and saw me, and I was expecting half to see a real, huge swelling and stuff. But he's got a real black eye and a big puffy bit under his eye. But considering he's standing there with a broken cheekbone, he's in fine fettle, to be honest with you. So we're hopefully positive, and we'll be wishing him, a speedy recovery, whether he needs a surgery or not. But we'll find that out by certainly the weekend.
And on a more positive note, we've got Tommy Hughes has now joined us. You've always said you won't just bring players in to sit on the bench. What are you hoping to get from Tommy?
Well, he's a real good footballer. I mean, he likes the ball. He uses it well. He sees pictures very, very quickly. He looks, I mean, he's been in now probably a month, and people don't realise Ipswich were kind enough, knowing that the lad was coming out of there, to give him a pathway. They let him come and train with us, which is, Gary Prober and everybody down at Ipswich Town deserve credit for looking after the lad. He was there for, I think, 13 or 14 years. And I think it's just the growth of the club recently has probably halted his pathway, but having seen him up close now, I'm hoping he's going to fit in seamlessly. He looks like the kind of player I like in terms of the way he uses the ball. He's got an eye for goal, he's got an eye for a clever pass, but he's competitive, and he seems like a nice kid. So from that point of view, I always think people who give people opportunities are repaid, and I'm looking for him to repay me. He's not got a big task, he's just got to keep us where we are or thereabouts.
Any other new signings on the horizon?
Yeah, well, I've got loads of plates spinning, literally, and they are spinning quickly. I've spoken to a manager this morning. I've spoken to a director of football this morning, and then in fact, I spoke to two managers this morning. I'm hoping something drops, maybe before the weekend, maybe not. The fact that we again have got a full week between the two games makes me not too concerned about having it in before the weekend. And with it being a long trip as well, I think the group are very comfortable in themselves, and a new person coming in right now would have no time really to mix with the group on the training ground, and then we'll be sitting on a bus for 6.5 hours before going in the swimming pool. So from that point of view, the answer to your question is I'm very hopeful there will be an addition, at least one. But at this moment in time, there's nothing really to report on other than Tom, which I'm delighted about because, like I said, he's been here, and we've taken for granted that he's going to be available to us, after the New Year's Day game. And I'm sure he's been looking forward to it. He's worked ever so hard in training. And hopefully the hardy souls that do travel to Blythe will get a peek at him. But when we play back down at the Walks against Peterborough next weekend, he'll certainly be involved.
Looking ahead, as you say, you've got a long journey on Friday, and then you've got the game against Blythe on Saturday. Your views on Blythe? I'm conscious, as I'm sure you are, about the...
No, well, I'm really good friends actually with the manager there. You know, Graham had a great footballing career himself, and he's got a tough gig. He knows that. He knew that when he went back. He had a very successful stint there before. What I do know is they'll try and play football the right way, but they come from a part of the world where football is everything, and them lads will be giving Graham every ounce of what they have. So we're not expecting any easy games. We've struggled against teams at the bottom. We're very well aware of that, and it's something we've got to eradicate. We've got to make sure we can, you know, if we're going to be dominant in games for periods. I'll take the derbies for instance. The periods that we showed dominance and quality were too much for a team like Boston, and that's been the case for a lot of teams in this division. So I'm confident if we can get a spell in the game where we're dominant and we can, you know, force the issue and do what we do well. And if we defend like we did over Christmas against the local rivals, then, you know, I can see us doing really well.
And thinking about the general fitness of the squad, I mean, we've spoken about goal, but Cameron, Ponch, what's the rest of the fitness across the squad at the moment?
Well, I've seen them both running this week, and Ponch probably is itching at the bit to get involved. I think we need to give him a little bit of competitive game time away from first team football, and we've got something penciled in for early next week. So I'm hoping he's going to be available, although he might well travel with us on Saturday. He's more likely to be available for the Peterborough game. Cameron went for a second opinion on his knee issue. He's feeling much better in himself. And I'm not joking here, I should have the results when I come off camera. So I could tell you that in an hour or so's time. But they're both positive. They're both much closer this Friday than we were, or this Thursday than they were last Thursday. So from that point of view, I'm really excited about that, because adding Tom in there, having Christian available, you know, and the fact that Spencer Keller's really close as well, it means when numbers are a little bit better than you think.
Tom, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Firstly, what shall we call you? How do you like to be known?
Usually I'm called Hughesy a lot of the time, but obviously we've got a Hughesy coach here, so Tommy Hughes. Tommy's what I go by here. Yeah.
Cool. You spent about 14 years with Ipswich. What convinced you to come and play for Kings Lynn?
As soon as I had a chat with the manager, really, he told me about his philosophy of play and how he wants to play the game, and kind of match with how I see the game being played. And as soon as I came in to train with the boys, I could see straight away that I would fit into the group quite well. And yeah, just good chats with some of the players. I know Brett McGavin, who's been here before, and he spoke really highly of the club, just manager, the staff and the players. So yeah, I was really excited as soon as I spoke to him as well.
Tell me about your career so far. Any loans, appearances, high spots? What's been the story of Tommy Hughes so far?
As a scholar, I had a few local spells at teams like Leiston, Lowestoft, Bury Town, just for the month. The start of this season, I went on loan a month at Torquay United in the National League. They're the only loans I've had so far in my career. I've been at, like you said, for 14 years, so I've kind of gone through the whole academy system. Broke into the first team for a few games as a 19-year-old. Made my debut in the EFL Trophy, come on as a sub in the FA Cup. So I had a little spell then, and then I got injured I was out injured for almost 2 years with a hip injury. Recovered from that at the start of this year, and then I've been fit for the whole of this season so far.
And what's your impression when you walk into Kings Lynn, having spent 14 years with Ipswich? What do you see the club as, and what's the view from the outside perspective? Because
I'd never really come to a club on a full-time basis before, I didn't really know what to expect, so I came in with an open mind. But as soon as I trained the first training session, my expectations were, I didn't know what to expect. The training group was really good, and the standard was probably better than I thought it would be, to be honest. So yeah, really good.
And what do you hope to bring to the club? What are the fans going to see when you walk onto the pitch? What sort of player are you going to be for Kings Lynn?
I'd describe myself as a technically gifted player. I like getting on the ball in midfield, passing forwards, being creative, and then hopefully in the end scoring and creating goals. That would be good if I can do and score as many goals as I can.
Tommy, welcome to Kings Lynn. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.